Sophia walked back into our home after her date with her lover, wearing a smile as if nothing had gone wrong. But I wasn't about to pretend. I greeted her with cold detachment and said, "You have 10 minutes to sign the divorce papers and leave my house." What she didn't anticipate, however, was the arrival of her lover's wife, turning the night into a living nightmare she'd never forget. When I first met Sophia, I was convinced we had something extraordinary. She was mesmerizing, sharp, ambitious, and everything I had ever wanted in a partner. We complemented each other perfectly, or so I believed. Both of us were deeply invested in demanding careers. She thrived as a financial consultant, while I held an executive role in luxury hospitality. The long hours and hectic schedules were something we both understood. At least, that's what I had thought. At first, the warning signs were subtle. Sophia, who once made time for our evening dinners, started working late more often. I brushed it off, reasoning that our fields were competitive, and I trusted her. But then, one night, while we were watching TV, her phone buzzed. She snatched it up quickly, let out a nervous chuckle, and muted it before placing it face down on the table. "Who's that?" I asked, keeping my tone casual. "Just a client," she replied, avoiding eye contact. "He's been a bit demanding lately." Her words seemed innocent enough, but her tense shoulders and the way she gripped her phone told another story. That night, a seed of doubt planted itself in my mind, and it refused to wither. Over the following weeks, the signs became harder to ignore. Her late nights at work seemed too conveniently timed. Missed calls and unread messages piled up, always written off as work emergencies. The warmth between us began to fade, replaced by a distance I couldn't explain away. Something wasn't right. Determined to uncover the truth, I decided to dig deeper. One Friday evening, after she left for yet another supposed client meeting, I sat at her laptop. She had forgotten to log out of her email, and what I found shattered every illusion I had left. Dozens of emails between her and a man named Adrian filled the screen. These weren't just playful flirtations. They were explicit, intimate exchanges, mapping out rendezvous at high-end restaurants and boutique hotels. My stomach churned as I scrolled through them. Adrian wasn't just some stranger. He was married, and worse, I had met his wife before at one of Sophia's work events. Suddenly, every suspicious glance, every lingering laugh between them clicked into place. But I wasn't ready to confront her. Not yet. I needed undeniable proof. For the next month, I took matters into my own hands. I hired a private investigator to track her movements, and the evidence he gathered confirmed everything. Photos, videos, irrefutable proof of their affair. But there was more. The investigator also uncovered that Adrian's wife, Amal, was completely in the dark about his double life. The irony wasn't lost on me. The man who so boldly pursued my wife had no idea that his own world was about to implode. I decided to let Amal in on the truth. Anonymously, I sent her a package filled with all the damning evidence. Enclosed was a simple note. "You deserve to know. If you want to talk, call me." A few days later, my phone rang. It was Amal. She was devastated, as expected, but she wasn't the type to wallow in misery. We met at a quiet cafe, where we laid everything bare. Her husband's lies, my wife's betrayal, and the emotional wreckage they had left in their wake. And that was only the beginning. "I want to confront him," Amal said, her voice steady despite the tears shimmering in her eyes. "But I want to do it in a way he'll never forget." Her determination sparked something in me. "What if we confront them together?" I suggested. They thought they had gotten away with this. It was time to prove them wrong. For the first time that evening, Amal smiled. "I like the way you think." For weeks, we carefully orchestrated the perfect confrontation. The plan was set for a Saturday night. Sophia had already mentioned she'd be working late again. But this time, I knew exactly where she'd be, an upscale restaurant downtown, dining with Adrian. Amal and I arrived early, securing a discreet corner table where we could watch without drawing attention. Right on schedule, they entered, hand in hand, laughing without a care in the world. My anger flared, but I kept it in check. Everything had to be timed perfectly. As their meals were served, we made our move. We strode directly to their table, and the instant panic on their faces was more satisfying than I had imagined. "Sophia," I said coolly, "you forgot to mention you had dinner plans with Adrian tonight." "And Adrian," Amal added, her voice laced with venom, "I see you've been keeping yourself quite occupied." The restaurant fell silent. Every nearby diner suddenly invested in the unfolding spectacle. Sophia's face turned scarlet as she fumbled for words. "Jacob, I can explain." "You'll have plenty of time for that." I cut in, placing a folder on the table. "Here are the divorce papers. You have 10 minutes to sign them, pack your things, and get out of my house." "Divorce?" she echoed, as if the concept was completely foreign. "You're being unreasonable." "No, Sophia," I said, my voice unwavering. "What's unreasonable is believing I wouldn't find out. What's ridiculous is throwing away our marriage for this." Adrian started to rise from his seat, but Amal pressed a firm hand to his arm, forcing him to stay put. "You're not going anywhere, Adrian," she said, her tone eerily calm. "We're far from done." Then, with quiet precision, she pulled out her own folder, filled with undeniable proof. "Your company's board will be receiving this on Monday," she informed him. "Let's see how they feel about their CFO misusing company funds to wine and dine his mistress." Adrian's face drained of color. "You wouldn't." "Oh, I would," Amal replied, a cold smile playing on her lips. "And I will." Sophia left that night with nothing but the clothes she was wearing. By the next morning, I had changed the locks and had the remainder of her belongings sent to her parents' house. She called, texted, and even showed up at my office, but I refused to see her. Our divorce was finalized within months, and she walked away with far less than she had anticipated. As for Adrian, his downfall was swift. Amal kept her word. She sent the evidence to his company's board, and within days he was fired. News of the affair spread like wildfire through their social circles. Amal filed for divorce soon after, and the last I heard, Adrian was living in a cramped apartment, far removed from the luxury he once flaunted. Amal and I remained in touch, supporting one another as we rebuilt our lives. Over time, we found peace in knowing that we had reclaimed control of a situation that could have broken us. Betrayal has the power to shatter you, but it also exposes your strength. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't just uncovering the truth. It's making sure those who wronged you never forget the price of their actions. In the end, justice isn't just about what you lose. It's about what you gain when you take your power back.